Hey everyone, welcome to the My Unprofessional Opinion Podcast. My name's Angela. So since this is the first podcast, I thought it would be a good idea to just introduce myself a little bit, tell you what this whole podcast is going to be about. So basically, a friend of mine and a few other people were all telling me that I should start a podcast. I went to school for broadcasting, so that's probably where the idea came from. But yeah, and then I think I just was putting it off because I didn't know what to talk about or have any name ideas or anything like that. But then a friend of mine came up with this name, My Unprofessional Opinion, because then she's like, you can just sit and talk. Shout out to you if you're watching or you're listening, because that'd be kind of cool. But anyways, so that's where that came from. This podcast is just going to be me talking about all sorts of different things. I want this to just be like a chit chat kind of place where it's something, maybe it's like pop culture stuff. Today I'm just doing facts about myself. Anything and everything is kind of what I want to do. So today I just have some facts about myself, so hopefully you can get to know me a little bit. So the first one, it's kind of random, but out of anywhere in the world, I've always wanted to go to Germany. I'm not sure why. I did a project about Germany in elementary school, and I guess it just fascinated my brain. I don't know. I don't even really remember anything about the assignment. All I know is I did on Germany, and ever since I'm like, I want to go to Germany. So maybe I'll go there one day. I don't know. And, just a fun one. As for cake and ice cream, a lot of people tend to like chocolate more. Nothing wrong with that. But for me, I would rather have vanilla. I like vanilla ice cream and vanilla cake better than chocolate. But I am a picky eater. And when I was younger, apparently I used to love onion rings. And then I found out there was onions in them. So I don't know what I thought they were made out of. It's like a shock to my brain that I could be that much of a genius. But, my dad really likes to tell that story to everyone whenever I say I'm a picky eater. And I'm like, you know what? That was when I was a little kid. I still don't like onions, but that was when I was a little kid. I am a changed person, kind of. I hope I'm not that naive to what's in food now, but yeah, so that's something that's kind of interesting. And then kind of going off of that, for my favorite foods, I think two of my favorite foods would be pancakes and burgers. So good. There's not really much to say about those. But then I can also be a pretty indecisive person, and sometimes I think I really rely on other people's opinions a lot. One thing I can think of is whenever I was choosing a college, I was set on one school, and then we went to visit another school, and I was just thinking would this be a good idea, blah, blah, blah. And then as I was thinking about it, I kept asking my mom and my dad, and they're like, oh, it should be your opinion and stuff. I'm like, I want you to tell me what you think. I think it's I really value other people's opinions, and I don't think that's a bad thing. It's just sometimes I need to just be able to make my decision on my own. And number 6 is I haven't done a lot of traveling, but one place I have been to is Bermuda, and I loved it. I loved the palm trees and just how warm it was. Number 7 is something kind of interesting. All through high school, I played the clarinet, and it was fun. I don't think I liked it as much as I thought I was going to, though. I wish it was more of a melodic instrument and stuff. Because a lot of the parts that I was playing for the band was just harmonies or accompaniments and stuff like that. So I think that kind of had an influence on, I was like, I don't want to play this because I'm playing a song I know and it doesn't sound like the song at all. So yeah, but I did play all the way through high school, so I'm proud of that. And I have an older sister, but I only get to see her once a year because right now she's away at school. So I only get to see her at Christmas time. So we see each other for about 1 month out of the year. So it can go a while, and sometimes it's people are like, do you miss her? I'm like, it's weirder when she's home, you know what I mean? She's home for a month, she's away for 11 months, so it's a lot weirder when she is home than when she's not. I love her. I do. I'm happy when she comes home, but it's weird. It's different because it's I've gotten used to her being away because she's been away for I think 4 years. So, and this next one is when I was little, me and my sister each had a guinea pig. They were our first real pets. We had fish, but as far as an animal that you can play with and stuff, we each had a guinea pig. So basically we got it because it was my sister's birthday, so it was a birthday present for her. But then the lady told us that it's not really good for one to be by itself, so it's like I had to suffer and get one, you know what I mean? So that was really exciting. But I don't remember how old I was. I think I was maybe like 7 or 6 or somewhere around there, I would say. And when I got mine, I chose one, and it sounds really weird, but she had this like hole in her head, but it wasn't a hole. It's apparently called a crown. It's a thing. I don't know if like other animals have it, but the guinea pigs had it. And so I was a little girl. It was a girl. So I'm like, Princess, that's going to be her name. So I named her Princess, and she lived a long time. I'm not going to get this right, but maybe like 4 years or 5 years. I felt like it was a long time for such a small animal. And this next one, so basically our family homes, I guess you could say, we've had 2 that I've lived in, and they were on the same street. So I remember, like, we moved while it was warm outside, so I remember my sister and I walking down the street carrying our toys, because this was maybe 10 or so years ago. So I remember walking down the street carrying all of our toys because we were literally on the same street. So that was kind of interesting. Like, whenever I tell people, I'm like, yeah, I lived in 2 houses, and they're like, oh, where was your other one? And I'm like, down the street. That kind of gives some interesting reactions. But like, the houses were 2 different styles, so I guess like that's why my parents decided to move. I like the area that we live in. This next one is one that I'm particularly really proud of. So like I said, I went to school for broadcasting, and every semester I was on the dean's list or the honor roll, whatever you want to call it. I think that was like really cool for me because school, I mean, I never did bad in school, but I was never like one of the geniuses or like get straight A's or anything like that. I was pretty average, but yeah, so I was really proud that when I went away to school, I did really well in it. And this one is, like I said, I've been to Bermuda, and I've gone through the Bermuda Triangle, and I live to tell the tale. So it's not like everyone who sails in it their ship is gonna sink. I mean, I wasn't on a ship, I was just on a normal boat. But yeah, we went through the Bermuda Triangle on one of our excursions one day. We did like this glass bottom boat. It wasn't really that good. There just wasn't a lot of glass on the bottom, so it got really crowded, so I couldn't see. And then I got like motion sick or whatever, so that didn't really help. But you know, I went through the Bermuda Triangle, and I lived to tell the tale. All right, and this last one, like I mentioned, this podcast was not my idea originally. I think I was kind of thinking, I'm like, oh, like what would happen if I started a podcast or something like that. When I was doing my internship, one of the people that was there was saying, you should start a podcast. And I was like, I don't know about that. So yeah, then he kept asking me, he's like, when's it starting, blah, blah, blah. And so here we go. Hopefully you're listening, because this was all your idea. I mean, I think it's going to be fun. Anyways, that's it for this first episode of My Unprofessional Opinion Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you can relate to some of the things I said. Maybe you're just like, wow, that's weird, or that's crazy. I mean, I don't think I'm that crazy of a person, but you know, let me know down below what you think. If you have any recommendations or suggestions for ideas or anything, just let me know. Bye, folks.